collection of the Reblooming spring and autumn irises. So they bloom once in the spring, and then when everything else is going to sleep, they come back for the fall.
And they do it big in the fall.
Yes.
It's not just a little sampling of flowers. It's big time. And I had never seen the reblooming irises until I moved to New York. We had irises my entire life. It's the first flower I noticed when I was a child. And I have to tell you, for Easter Sunday, on my Facebook page, I put a picture of myself up when I'm 4 years old, standing in front of my mama's iris bed, because the irises in Mississippi always bloomed for Easter. And you had on your little Easter outfit, and that's where you got your picture made.
Oh, I love it.
But if my mama had had these in the fall, we'd had to dress up again.
Dress up again for another picture.
Exactly.
Turn it into your Christmas card, right?
Oh my goodness.
$36.12 for the 3-piece set that is brand new this season, but it's 3 pieces of 3 different colors.
Indeed, and this is our most dazzling bicolor collection of irises, meaning two-toned. Each flower is two-toned. Fresh and unforgettable fragrances on these. We chose them for the fragrance as well as the reblooming quality because they bloom the spring and the fall. You'll get blooms this year. And the varieties in the collection, top-notch varieties right here. Look at that right there.
Oh, how pretty. Dimensional.
How do you like that color? It looks like a white thumbprint right there. That's Mariposa Autumn, and it's ruffled around the edges too. And it's that nice kind of a deep violet color, but it really shows up. The white makes the whole thing pop right here. And then if you love a yellow one, this one is actually kind of a lemon lime color. The part that stands up, those are called the standards. The part that hangs down, those are called the falls. And if you can see, the falls are a pale yellow. It gives a little distinction. If it's just solid yellow, you don't really notice that difference. But that gives it that slight finesse and the incredible fragrance. And then this nice orchid color one right here. Look at that.
Oh, well, look at that name.
How beautiful is that? Just gorgeous. But you see that tangerine color inside? Guess what that's called? The beard. This is the most beautiful bearded lady I've ever seen. She's gorgeous. But I love the color.
Her name's Jennifer.
Her name is Jennifer.
Yes.
Exactly. But she's got a tangerine colored beard.
Of course.
Of course. Exactly. But you get all 3 of these in this collection. And I love the collection of all the iris collections we've offered so far, including the one that I picked out myself, which is not this one. This is the most colorful because of the bicolor quality. If you just had 3 solid colors here, it wouldn't look as big. But because these are multicolored each, you get this great look. And this is a beautiful representation of what you'll have in your garden for years to come.
And I understand these, because it's right here on my card, will thrive for decades?
Decades. Well, you see irises, well, I have to tell you, you see irises even on grave sites.
Well,
where they don't really get taken care of. And you see them at old home sites, but they're typically the varieties that bloom the one time.
Right.
These are rebloomers. That's the trick with them. They come back every single year, and you don't mulch them. One less thing to do. You do not mulch them.
Amen.
This is the way they come to you. And if you've ever gone to the nursery and bought irises, it'll be in a gigantic pot. The plant is never any bigger than this. They don't have a big root system, so when you got the gigantic pot and you unpot it, guess what happens? All the soil falls off. And then you've got a bare root plant. What's the point in buying that giant pot? We ship them in the right size pot, plant it no deeper than it is in this pot. These things are going to go to town for you. Do not mulch these. Mine are next to the foundation of the house, which is adjacent to the driveway. It gets hot as Hades right there. And these say, it's okay, we've been good, we're not gonna roast. They just carry on.
And really, just to hear you talk about the properties of these plants reminds me to remind you that these really are custom grown. This isn't something that is very, very common, that simply is harvested and then shipped to you. This is something that is designed for you in its color, but also in its particular breed, because this is meant to bloom once and then again. That's why it's called the Rebloomer, and that's what sets it apart from other gardens. That being said, you would expect it then to cost a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But the fact that you get it for $36.12, 3 pieces breaks down to $12.04 a piece, is brand new this season. Every year, we get more and more beautiful pieces from Cottage Farms, but they get more beautiful as well as hardier and higher in performance as well.
Indeed. Well, you go to the nurseries and you'll look over where the bearded irises are, which is what these are, bearded German iris, and you will see what they cost. It is not this price,
right.
But also they're not the rebloomers. There are not many rebloomers out there. We got the rebloomers. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to look on those little bitty tags at the nursery trying to figure it out. How miserable is that? And it doesn't give you enough information. You get a growing guide. This is the most colorful iris collection we've ever offered.
Clearly.
And if you like this kind of display in the spring and you want to see it again in September, you will.
Absolutely. Gosh, especially after a year like this and a winter like this, I want those blooms as long as I can get them. But I do understand already, we're kind of counting it down. It's brand new this season, but we've got fewer than 700 remaining for the entire season, and that means for the entire year. So if you want to get your hands on something that so very many few others have their hands on, here's an opportunity to get it.
Absolutely. And the fragrance is just incredible. If you have never smelled the German iris, it is the cleanest of all of the perfumes. Of all flowers, including roses, this is my favorite fragrance.
Above roses?
Above roses. It's my favorite fragrance because it is subtle, but it is unforgettable. You know how gardenia has got a unique smell? These irises also have a unique smell. You know, little Hazel that comes over to my house and helps me garden. She's 8 years old. I introduced her to irises because I remembered it was the first flower I noticed, and I got her to smell it. So the whole rest of the summer, she's wanting to see, well, where are the irises? And I said, well, they bloomed in the spring. I said they'll be blooming again in September. So they did come back in September, and we got to make more pictures with them. But it's one of those flowers you introduce the children to. They won't forget it. Pick one flower out that you like, introduce the child to it. They will love that flower as their favorite flower their entire lives.
It's true, you're creating memories here. And we know that the sense of smell is that's most deepest attached to memories as well. So when you have a beautiful fragrance and a beautiful floral, and that's why people are so passionate about gardening. I mean, it's meditative, it passes the time. It's emotional too. I mean, beauty invokes emotion. And you're able to do this in your own home, and that's exactly where you should do that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be challenging, it doesn't have to be overwhelming, it doesn't have to be intimidating, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And this is a perfect example.
But it does have to be beautiful.
It should be.
You need to have beautiful things in your garden. It's about choosing the right plants. That's why we put this collection together. You're not going to find a better iris collection anywhere out there.
We're fewer than 600 now remaining for the entire season, and it's new this season as well. $36.12, M46280 is your item number. I'd like you to check